Amen and amen. As we look today at a landmark decision that was gave out on January the 22nd in 1973, every single year when we get close to this date, we look back at one of the darkest days in the American history. It was on the January the 22nd in 1973 that the U.S. Supreme Court sent down its final verdict on a case that had been brought before them. And the case that we all look at is Roe versus Wade, and many of you have heard about it. The court held that a woman's right to an abortion fell within the right to privacy and protected by the 14th Amendment. The decision gave a woman total control over the pregnancy during the first trimester and defined different levels of state interest for the second and the third trimesters. And as a result, the laws of 46 states were affected by the court's ruling on that day. To sum it up, what we're experiencing in regard to this mandate or this law in America is we could simply say that America as a nation is highly committed by law and by practice to a form of mass murder is what we could say. And what we see here today, ladies and gentlemen, in the next few minutes is going to sound like a history class, but I have several things I would like to read. I would like to read statistics. I would like to read some laws that states have concerning animal cruelty. And I'm not for animals being mistreated, but when we have laws that protect animals far greater than we do babies in the wombs of mothers, we are a nation that is destined to fall. Because when we think about humanity, we think about God, and we look through the expanse of time. When He went to create something that would give Him honor and glory, He created me and you. And He created every one of these babies that have been aborted throughout these meals and all the time that we've seen. And really, ladies and gentlemen, this nation which we see that we live in today, and I'm thankful to live in America, but we look at a nation that prides itself on humanitarianism is what we see. We always are out to help everyone but the weakest of all creatures, and that's the baby in the womb. You see, many times, ladies and gentlemen, I've heard people say that when the government is going to cut a food stamp or cut a health care, many people start talking about, well, this group of politicians don't care for the unborn, and this group of politicians, they care for those that are hungry, and they're after this, they're after that. And ladies and gentlemen, let me explain something to you before we get started here this morning. There is no one any poorer in this world than the baby in the womb. That's it. That's the poorest of all individuals. And when we think that we want to help the poor and we want to help the elderly, when I think of it as a Baptist preacher and from God's holy word, I think of those that are in the womb. And the problem is this nation, as we look at humanitarianism, the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, we're in a murderous cycle of violence that makes the Nazi Holocaust look mild in comparison.